Fellas, a month ago, or actually a little over a month ago, we made a video about a Nightfall that could be grinded with ease, allowing you to obtain those coveted materials like Ascended Shards, Enhancement Prisms, Enhancement Cores, as well as a number of exotics with good stat rolls. And if you happen to have your obelisk filled out, yes, you can also receive Fractalines from Nightfall Ordeals. This week, the Nightfall Tree of Probabilities has returned to us with slightly different modifiers than the last time, and I actually wanted to make an updated guide on this because this may be one of the final weeks before next season that you can truly and efficiently grind for all of these materials, because at the end of the day, it pretty much just boils down to how fast you can do those Nightfall Ordeals, and most of these 980s can take a pretty good while if you don't have a good fire team. Now, first and foremost, the modifiers for this week is a little bit different. You've got air superiority. Flying units do increased damage. You do have some overload champions, some barrier champions, of course, but the biggest one is probably attrition. Regeneration is greatly impaired. Defeating enemies may create wells of light. Now that's probably the biggest one there, because yes, that regeneration is probably more than greatly impaired. It will eventually slowly regenerate, but if you take just a little bit of damage, it'll stall that regeneration even more, thus resulting in you dying from like death of 1,000 cuts, which is why I am on the Hunter class today. Fellas, let's go over the strategies in terms of loadouts. Now understand, you can use whatever you want. You can also roll with whatever class you want, but just to make life easier on yourself, you need at least one person rocking bottom tree NIGHTSTALKER to take advantage of Vanish in Smoke, which allows you to grant invisibility to yourself and your allies when you actually throw down a smoke. You also grant everyone Heart of the Pack, which does give you a slight bump there in both mobility, recovery, and resilience, but stacks up to ×3. This is by far the easiest way to get through the Infinite Force. Make sure you use your Gambler's Dodge next to an enemy, and as you go up to each gate to unlock the next phase of the forest, that's when you want to throw your smoke down. That's when all of you should be grouped together, thus allowing for everyone to stay invisible. And normally this is not something required, but when we're talking about attrition, granting invisibility to yourself as well as your teammates is super beneficial here. Now the other classes that we would recommend, considering that you are going to be waiting on recovery a bunch, hands down, a Well of Radiance Warlock with Divine Protections makes all the difference here. As similar to Vanish and Smoke, throwing down that blessing heals every ally that walks through it, including yourself, and gives you a slight overshield. It's just something that keeps you alive, especially if you're in a pickle, and we pretty much utilize Divine Protections as well as Vanish and Smoke when we had to move through groups of enemies. As far as the other class, the third person in your fire team, what they should use really just comes down to you. We were taking advantage of bottom tree Golden Gun. Les was actually using that with Celestial just to get some extra damage on the boss, because you ideally want to kill the boss in that first room. And again, as you do this more and more with your fire team, you'll start to see that timer go down. We got down to maybe like 9.5 minutes. We possibly could have got it down less, but the optimal goal is to get less than 10 minutes on each one of these Nightfalls, which is not a bad amount of time considering the amount of loot you get from each of these. Now, one last note I would make about the subclasses themselves, especially for my Hunter that is applying smokes to their teammates. I was rocking Frosties, which will allow me to get my regeneration for both my grenade, my melee, and my dodge back almost instantly. Now, in terms of the weapon choices, I pretty much think it's the same as all 980s, man. 1 Divinity, 2 Izanagi's Burden with Exotic Catalyst. It's not required, but if you're looking to get like sub 10-minute runs, hands down that combination is still probably the deadliest, especially considering the only way you're going to lock down really good loot is if you kill every champion in this Nightfall. You got to kill them all, and having that Divinity Izanagi's Burden is still one of the best combos to do that. Now let's just walk through where the champions actually spawn. First up, when you initially come into the map, we always go right. We go past everything. We get to the end, and we actually jump up on the right there. And I like to use a little bit of my heavy ammo just to make sure we don't get picked right off the go. And you'll have a barrier champion that will eventually make his way up the stairs, or you can just peek over there and proceed to take him out. And again, for my Divinity users, make sure you tap fire. This will conserve you a ton of ammo while still applying that debuff effect. Now, the moment you kill this champion, you're good. You go straight through the portal, pop your Sparrow out. I don't have Speed Demon on me, but if you got Speed Demon, this makes it even faster, and you proceed to enter the Infinite Force. Now, some people try to Sparrow their way through the Infinite Force, and if you got the balls to do it, by all means, go right ahead. I always end up getting killed, and as you know, a Sparrow can just be tickled just a little bit, and then it explodes. What I like to do is actually run up to the first gate, or Sparrow my way up to that first gate, hop off, and proceed to throw a smoke down to my teammates, as well as myself. After this point, you just run through the forest, dodge, get your smoke back, And pretty much for my hunters that are trying to keep their team invisible, that's your only job. Find the quickest route throughout the infinite forest to get to the other end, while simultaneously making sure people stay invisible as much as they possibly can. And if you got a warlock too that's pairing divine protections with that invisibility, it really helps. And again, the best places to throw both your smoke and your divine protections down is actually at the gates when you unlock the next portion of the forest, right? As you'll all be grouped right there. Now, when you get to the end, you'll notice all these ads having a spawn, and the only way to really unlock this next phase is by killing all of these ads. Just try to get up there as fast as you can to the very top. Sometimes the ads kind of spawn in slow, but if your team's shotting together, and I like to at least use a little bit of heavy here, or have someone using a little bit of heavy, this makes clearing these ads much faster. Now this unlocks this next portion. You run through here, and when you get to the end, you're gonna see a bunch of ads in front of you. Now I misspoke in our last guide. You don't have to kill these ads. I mean, technically, if you wanted to unlock the bridge in front of you, you can kill them, but it's a huge time waste. Instead, stay up top, pop some divinity shots off into those 2 barrier champions, and then proceed to gun them down with Izanagi's burden. Now, the moment you kill these champions, you can move past this area. Now, if you're like a Titan or a Warlock, you could probably make that jump. I'm pretty sure Dimitri didn't need to jump over to the left there in order to make it across. If you are a Hunter though, not utilizing something like Stompies, I would suggest jumping to that left far wall and then proceed to jump over to the middle. It may still seem like you're not gonna make it, but trust me, once you do it once, you got it down, man. Now, when you're on the other side, we used to do it kind of differently. Like sometimes I would go around to the right and proceed to take down ads. Other times we would go up top and kill ads. That way we got the vertical ground on the ads below. It's actually more efficient to still go to the left together and kill the barrier champions from afar. Now you got the one champion that spawns down low, which he's pretty easy to take out. And again, you have to just decide whether or not, like if you're far enough where the other ads aren't really messing with you, that you can proceed to kill the barrier champion together. But if those snipers on the side there are giving you too much trouble, go ahead and just kill them and take them out, and then proceed to take down the barrier champion. Now there's also a barrier hobgoblin that's on the top area. Normally, that hobgoblin is looking down at you already. You don't have to climb up there. You can just pop some divinity shots into him and proceed to take him down without having to travel all the way to the top. But there are times that he just sits up there, man. And if that's the case, yes, you'll have to go all the way up there to kill him. This doesn't kill your speed run, but it does tack on like an extra 30 seconds. Then after killing that champion, you progress down into that pit area. You'll see a few ads, but the main one you want to take out is, of course, another barrier champion. And throughout all of this, I highly advise one, if not two of your fire team members to have a special finisher on. Finish some of these trash ads to grant yourself as well as your teammates some special ammo. It does require 1/3 of your super, but you're going to be burning through some divinity as well as Izanagi's burden. So having special finisher is almost a necessity here. Now you'll race past the rest of these. Again, feel free to finish off any of these enemies if you need special ammo, which takes us to the next phase before the boss phase. Now I was actually messing up here. What I would actually do, I would jump straight up there and immediately start taking damage from pretty much all of the ads as well as the barrier champion. It is actually much better for you to sit back all the way back on like the bridge area, like before you actually ramp over. You and your teammates take out the barrier champion together from that spot. Once you take out that barrier champion, then proceed to move up and clear out the trash ads. This makes things so much easier because it's so difficult to juggle all of these ads as well as the barrier champion when they're all focused on you, especially that barrier champion, as they will instant melt you in a heartbeat. Now this next area, you've got a bunch of other ads. Take your time moving through here. You are going to run into some void shields. And considering that this is not only a 980 but a 980 with match game, they are pretty beefy. So throw like a vortex grenade down to pop those shields if you're the Nightstalker. Then after this phase, you of course will run into that wanted target. I'm not sure if not killing this wanted target will affect your loot or not. We just always kill it. Do your Izanagi and Divinity combo. Should make pretty quick work. Then you have a bunch of ads with void shields. If you're rocking bottom tree Nightstalker, this is like the one time that your super is actually kind of useful. No offense. Proceed to use your super though to take out all these shields, which should make very quick work of all these enemies. And again, if someone is rocking something that does void damage, obviously this won't be an issue. But again, nobody I don't think on our team was rocking any type of void damage dealing weapons, so we were just utilizing my subclass and it was dealing with all the void shields just fine. Now the next phase here, you got the drop ship. It comes in, it drops ads, deal with the trash ads, but you'll also see another barrier champion. Deal with them the same way. I feel like we need to come up with a better name for the Divinity Izanagi combo, right? We'll think about it. Then after killing this champion though, you'll have another champion, and by this time, you probably are running out of ammo. I would highly suggest either finishing this champion off or get ready to finish off one of these trash ads down below. Now, before you just jump down into the pit of hell, just look over the side and you'll see another barrier champion hobgoblin. Gun that hobgoblin down while you are above. That way you don't have everything just jumping on top of you, and then proceed to move down below. Again, you want to take it a lot slower than what we've shown in previous guides, simply because of attrition. Finish off some of these enemies if you need special ammo, which now takes us to the boss phase. Now, we've done this boss room a number of different ways. We've done it with bubbles, which is not bad, but considering that attrition was a thing this week, divine protection was so important, so we just wanted to take advantage of one buff from Well of Radiance here. And what I actually would like to do is, as the divinity user, you go to this left side here and you get right on the side of this column. This is like pro tips, baby. I can't tell you how many times this has saved my life. Sit right there, pop some divinity shots off into the boss, and if you're lucky, the boss will look directly at you instead of your teammates, and will sit there and try to shoot you over and over again without touching you, which will allow your teammates to easily take them down with Izanagi's Burden. Now, the reason why this is the better strat, even though you may feel like you would do better sitting in the Well of Radiance to get that extra damage, divinity is not going to necessarily boost that damage. Plus, with all three of you standing in the same location, it's really easy for the boss here to blow you back with his weapon, thus resulting in you dying pretty instantly. Even if you're like up against the wall, he'll push you just enough to get the kill on you from like 2 feet away. Plus, it's just like super disruptive. So really, the best strategy was just to split the team up 2 and 1, the divinity user on one side and the 2 guys using Izanagi's Burden on the other. And again, Les was actually using Celestial, so a golden gun shot thrown in there really helped out with the damage. Now, after this, and it should be pretty quick because you're going to kill that boss pretty fast if you got this formula down right, you're going to have a bunch of ads spawn in front of you. But most notably, you'll have 2 barrier champions and an overload minotaur. Highly suggested to take out the overload minotaur first, because he's coming for blood. Again, another reason why divinity is so amazing, divinity disrupts overload champions, so it should instantaneously overload and disrupt this minotaur here. And once you get on a good formula with your team, it's just gonna be like bam, bam, bam. You'll kill the overload minotaur, you'll kill the barrier champion, and then you'll kill the other barrier champion in like 4 or 5 seconds. As long as they're following the little white light, everything should go smoothly. Just know, if you're the divinity guy, you're pretty much like the captain, man. You gotta shoot and pick a target and stick with that target. But highly suggested to do the overload champion first before moving to the barriers. Now, the next room, you have a bunch of ads, but the same thing. You have 1 overload champion and 2 barrier champions. Now, I would actually run to the middle, or before I would run into the middle, which kind of screwed up the spawns of some of these barrier champions. Like, sometimes they all spawn in front of you like normally. Other times, a barrier champion will spawn behind you, which really messes you up. We found to get the best layout of spawns is to just go to the right side in that corner. This actually puts enough distance between you and all the ads that, I don't know, it somehow allows for them to spawn in correctly. But same concept as the previous room. Take out the overload champion first, then proceed to take out the barrier champions. And normally there's like a little bit of time there in between the champion spawning and the trash ad spawning that you can actually gun down majority of the trash ads before the champion spawn. But highly suggested, the moment you see those champions, especially those overload champions, divinity users, you gotta jump on them almost instantly, or they will mess you up. Pretty much everything here will mess you up, but they will really mess you up. They will come inside your Well of Radiance and bend you over. Now, upon killing all these ads, and if you kill the boss in that first room, you'll pretty much be able to waltz into the final room and receive the loot. All this for some Ascendant Shards, Prisms, Cores, Fractalines, as well as exotics. Really though, guys, after like, I don't know, the 2nd or 3rd Nightfall run, you get in a good flow, man. You and your team are working together. You're hitting those sub 10-minute runs. This is one of the best Nightfalls for this kind of grind. And with trials being speculated to be returning, I highly suggest getting as many in-game materials as you can right now, especially for my more dedicated PvP players that rarely step off inside of PvE. You may not have all these weapons that we just mentioned, but make friends. This is when you want to find that PvE dedicated player and just be like, hey man, carry me. And most of them will. Dimitri's an absolute PvE sweat, so yeah, gives me the hot carry quite regularly. So guys, that is your Nightfall guide. Let me know in the comments below what you think. I had a few people comment previously about skipping the entire Infinite Forest and like World Line Zeroing yourself across the map with, I think, what, Top Tree Dawnblade? Yeah, I think that is possible. The problem is, if you're all rocking World Line Zeros, then you cannot be using things like Izanagi's Burden and Divinity. And it really does make taking down those champions, especially in 980s, from afar much easier. I would say that would be okay if attrition wasn't present, but the ability to take them out from a distance is almost a necessity right now when attrition is present. That would be the only thing that would make this Nightfall better, was if attrition wasn't present this week. Outside of that, guys, this is one of the best Nightfalls. I think the other Nightfalls that are really good, Arms Dealer is actually an excellent Nightfall as well. And I'm trying to remember what other Nightfall. There's one other Nightfall that we've already run in the past that was like, man, it was top notch. Like 8-minute runs, dude. I can't remember. Well, good luck with the Nightfalls. Fellas and ladies, thank you all for coming and watching. And as always,
slap that like button like your mama told you right.